That's what made me make the film.
Great. And I mean, is this your first venture into comedy?
No, I made 10 films, I made 7 shorts and 3 features, and my last 3 features were comedy. The first one was called The Living Dead. I made one called She's the One, that came out last year on Amazon, iTunes, and Sky, and this is like, it's my third comedy feature.
Yeah, I definitely would recommend Living Dead if you guys are still on Prime.
Yeah,
I definitely would recommend that. I love that film. So yeah, I mean, there's obviously like, if you look at the film, the subject matter that you're dealing with is quite sensitive. I mean, a lot of people would feel some of the things said in there could be offensive. I mean, how in today's cancel culture do you manage that? How do you navigate that?
Do you know what? I feel like with topics like racism, they're so touchy, and like you said, you can trigger people, you can offend people, and what I wanted to do was make it in a way. I had loads of people laughing, and the whole idea was to make people laugh and watch it like a bubblegum film, popcorn film, just to enjoy the movie, but then afterwards think about some of the things that you saw in it. I'm sure there's loads of things in the film that you've either experienced or you know somebody who's been through it. So mine was to kind of get people laughing and enjoy the film, so that I don't trigger nobody, I don't offend nobody, but then underline the message is still there. I remember growing up, like I used to hate Brussels sprouts, like nasty things, nasty. Christmas come, my mum was going to put Brussels sprouts in it, nasty. And then my mum used to put roast potatoes around the sprouts. So then I'm eating the potatoes and don't even realise I'm eating the sprouts. So sometimes you've got to hide the messages underneath something. So I've kind of tried to hide the messages which are really important underneath the comedy, so that you still get the message but you enjoy the film at the same time.
Great. And as far as like, I mean, I'm a filmmaker myself, so just seeing, another brother doing an independent feature film like this, I mean, how did that come about? Just talk to us a little bit about how you actually managed to get this film made.
So when I started making movies, so I act as well. I do a bit of acting. I've been in Batman, Dead Man Running, The Intent, those are films. I'll tell you a quick story. I went for a casting for Dead Man Running with 50 Cent, and I was an ex-bodyguard before then. I looked after like Biggie Small, I looked after loads of people, Donald Jones. So I went to this casting as an actor, and I walked into the room and I saw, I think Charles Venn was there, Ashley, loads of them was there, and I'm looking at all these actors and I'm like, I'm not even an actor. There's no way I'm gonna get this role. Like, why would they give it to me? I'm nobody. So I walked into the casting room and there was like a panel of the cast, the judges, and the guy was like, so Mr. Nwaka, why should we give you the part? So I just grabbed him and put him in a headlock. Seriously, true talk. I put him in the headlock and I said, why would you pay those other guys to do what I do for a living? And he gave me the job. And then I got the film, Dead Man Running with 50 Cent, and then you die. Yeah. You got to try it, didn't you? So I got the role. And then following on from that, I then carried on going to castings. And every time I went into these rooms, it's like I'm seeing the same people and never getting the parts now. So I was like, you know what? If I can't get these parts, let me create in my own lane. I'm not waiting for people to give me handouts. Let me create my own lane. So I taught myself how to write, direct, produce by mistakes. My first short film was rubbish. I thought it was great, rubbish. I could hear people talking, eating food in the background, boom mic in there. Just terrible, but I made it. When they said I couldn't. Then that guy was like, yeah, Fredi, that's all right, but what are you going to do next? Then I made another short film, then another short film, then another short film. So I taught myself how to do it. So I got to the point where I am now, where this one I wrote it, I directed it, I produced it, I cast it, I found the locations, I sold it, and here we are today. Do you know what I'm saying? I don't do, thank you. I just don't do, I have certain I guess, mantras. Like I don't do ifs, I just do hows and when. Because if you do an if, that means you're not too sure. I do how am I going to do something and when. So with this film, I was like, you know what? How am I going to do it? And when? And here we are.
So just another production sort of question. How long was the production? I mean, how long did it take from sort of writing it, idea to writing it to then making it?
So I wrote it in about 3 weeks.
Wow.
I made it in 15 days. And then the edit itself was about 2 months, just editing. And like you watch something and then you watch it back and you realise you left something in there that ain't meant to be in it. and then you got to go back and look at all the other little bits and pieces. Then you got the sound, got to do his part. So I guess from start to finish, it was probably about 3 months, 4 months if you include all the editing and all the grading and all that kind of stuff.
Well, that's really impressive, man. I mean, that's great. I mean, I think I want to hear what everybody else thinks, you know, about this film, and if you've got any questions for Fredi. So, yeah.
3 questions, really.
3 questions.
I went in, I was asked for one, man. Straight greedy. Let me skip 3. Go on.
How did you meet up with Peter Andre? How did you raise the funding? And do you think headlocks are the way forward?
Alright, so Peter Andre, you know what it is? It's about leverage and understanding what you have to offer.
Yeah.
So for example, Peter Andre is a great singer, a nice guy.
Yeah, I've interviewed.
Yeah,
really
and he's a real good TV, if you like, personality. But he's never done a film before.
Right.
So I can give you something that you haven't got, and you give me something that I don't got. So he gave me the exposure, the daytime TV, the interviews, and I gave him his first film. And sometimes you've got to understand that we look at ourselves not as powerful, and we think these other people are more powerful. But he's not more powerful than me because he's never been in a film before. So I gave him something, he gave me something, and it was a mutual thing. And since then, now we're going to do another movie next year called Jamaican, which we're filming in Jamaica. And I think sometimes you just have to know your self-worth, man. Do you know what I mean? You have to know your own power when you walk into a room. Because a lot of us, we walk into rooms and we think because someone's on TV or someone's famous that they're more powerful than us. The hell no. We've got our own power within ourselves. So that's how that whole thing worked with Pete Andre. In terms of raising the funding, my first feature film, I remortgaged my house, I took out a loan, and I was like, you know what? I have to believe in my own source. Do you know what I mean? I was going into meetings with Lionsgate, Warner, and I walk into these meetings and they're like, "Oh, Fredi, your stories are great and we love what you're doing, but let's get blah blah to make it." I'm like, "Huh? What do you mean? What do you mean get blah blah to make it? Yeah, or this person to make it?" They're like, "Yeah, but you're a first-time writer, first-time director." And I'm like, "But if I don't make it, I will always be a first-time writer." Yeah. So I was like, you know what? Screw you lot. Let me just do my thing, innit? So I made my first film, The Living Dead. Then I made She's the One. And now I made On the Other Foot. So now I've got 3 feature films. So when I go into them same meetings, make sure you know your thing in it. Like Kerry said, yesterday's price ain't today's price now. When I walk into these rooms now, the conversations are different now. Because it's like, you can't hit me with that first time writer thing. Because I've done 3 movies and 7 shorts. So that was how I went about doing this whole thing. And raising the funds for this one, the first one made money, and I took money, then put more money into the next one. And then I've also done product placement where I took lots of brands and put brands in the film that paid to have their items in the film and stuff like that. And then I just leveled it up. And finally, the headlock thing. Yeah. It's not for everybody. You know what I'm saying? You just got to know what you know in it. And that like, I was clutching at straws. It could have gone horribly wrong, bro. It could have been like some time behind bars. I was like, but I just thought, you know what? I've got to do something that these other guys ain't gonna do, because they're gonna come in there and just off to who they are, they're gonna get the role. I never had no credits. I never had no kind of credits, no kind of acting experience. I just knew how to put man in a headlock. So I'm like, yo, I need to put your brother in a headlock and see what happens. And it went all right.
Any other questions?
Yeah.
Yeah, go on, bro.
2, have you always had your surname, and where's it from? That's one question.
Okay.
The second question is, given learning moving forward, what learning have you got from this book? How would you improve this piece next time?
Okay, lovely. So in terms of my name, my nickname or my real name?
Surname. That's credited.
Okay, so Nwaka.
Nwaka.
It's my family name. I'm from Nigeria.
Have you always had that?
Always,
Right.
from day. It's weird because back in the day when, I think maybe when I was 15 or 16, my dad gave us the opportunity to change our surname to Francis or keep Nwaka, because it was hard to get jobs and stuff like that. And I kept my Nwaka, but my brother changed it to Francis, and he's still a Francis today. And I'm Nwaka, but I mean,
Has he got better jobs?
no. You know what I mean? One thing, James Samuels, he's the director of The Harder They Fall on Netflix, good friend of mine. And I remember one time, because my nickname used to be Fredi Krueger, because I used to run around, I was involved in gangs and all kinds of stupid stuff like that. And I used to always make my films and put Fredi Krueger, because everyone knew who I was. And he said to me, Fredi, your name is one of the most powerful things you can have. And that's when I started looking at my name and realising that I have to drop the Kruger thing and come back to the person I am, which is Nwaka. And that's what I've done, and hence why I now, the Krugers, if you know me from back then, please forget you knew me from back then because I was a different person back then, but the Nwaka is who I am now. And the last question was, sorry, the other question was?
How would you improve your next piece based on the learning from this one?
Do you know what? It's all about, if you stop learning, then you ain't growing. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like part of life generally, when you get to the point where you think you've learned everything, then you're dead. Do you know what I mean? Because every day you're learning something new. So for me with this, there's so many things that I could have done better. A lot of it's based on finance. When those films like, for example, Batman, and they've got like 50 million, 80 million budgets, you know what I mean? And when you're shooting films for less than 50,000, and they little small budgets, your time constraints, you don't have as much time to shoot things. I feel like, for me personally, with this film, if I had more, if anything, what I've taken from this is definitely don't shoot a film during the pandemic. That weren't the greatest, because we shot this during the pandemic. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, yeah, we literally was doing the whole social distancing thing and trying to dodge police and all kinds of madness. But we got, but we got it done. Do you know what I mean? So don't shoot a film in a pandemic. It's hard. And just little things I learned, like in terms of certain shots. People always ask me what makes a good director, and I just feel like being personable. Like, I don't have no hierarchy on my sets. The runner is as important as the director. The producers are as important as the cleaners. So I don't have no hierarchy, so that we all need each other, and we're a nice film ecosystem, so that we all respect and support each other. And that's how I try to make things just grow, I guess. And yeah, I don't know. Did I answer your question? Or was I just chatting rubbish?
It answered my question. I guess I was asking you. Well, I guess more specifically, I said what don't you like about this film that you might improve? But I guess you kind of.
Do you know what? Okay, so what I don't like about this film, about the film itself, in terms of, is to feel like I feel like I could do a lot more if I had a lot more. That's the only thing that I don't like. Like, in terms of the storyline, I think I managed to do it in a way where I didn't offend nobody, but it's still funny and it still gives over a message. But I guess if anything, man, I wish I had more money to do more better things. Like, so if that was Kevin Hart, no disrespect to like Ori, if that was Kevin Hart, it would be billboards and, do you know what I'm saying? And more people would see it. But being an independent filmmaker, I'm reliant on, I guess, people like yourself to go and spread the word. It takes a lot longer for the message to filter out. So I guess money would be, yeah. Okay.
I thought the film was fantastic. For the
Thank
first
you.
time you did it, it was really, really a good film. But going back to what you're talking about, some of the themes and hiding the Brussels sprouts and potatoes around. Can you tell me a little bit about some of the themes that you were trying to maybe?
It's okay. So it's not so much so metaphorically speaking, it's not so much, I guess, actually trying to hide stuff. But what I meant by that was, in regards to, like, when you're watching the film, on face value, it's a comedy, and it is a comedy. It makes you laugh. There's funny parts in it, but there's a serious undertone, which is racism.
Yeah.
And so what I've tried to do is, when I used to Brussels sprouts and that whole thing, it was more about saying that, for example, I used to hate Brussels sprouts, same way as racism is a horrible thing.
Yeah.
And then my mum used to hide the Brussels sprouts under the potatoes, and I've hidden the racism underneath the comedy. So then you're watching the comedy, enjoying and laughing, but not really taking it as hard as if it was a hard-hitting, in-your-face film. It would offend people and make people kind of pull back and maybe not watch the whole film. And that's what I meant by using the same, I guess, I don't know if that's a great analogy, but the sprouts. But it was just kind of like trying to hide something you don't like underneath something that you do like, basically.
So Ross, why did you not do a black couple? There was a bit of black love.
I've done that in my last film, man. What She's the One?
I've seen She's the One.
Oh yeah, so that's why, because I've done that in my last film.
Okay,
so I'm just trying to do first. That was so She's the One is the first British romantic comedy with two black leads, and this is the first film where white persons turn black. So I'm just trying to do things and set trends, really. Be first at doing stuff. Thank you.
Sorry, you there?
With the experience you have now, would you be interested in mentoring people that wouldn't necessarily consider being in the profession that you're in, or ever been shown the profession that you're in?
Yeah, 1,000,000%. I mean, I go into a lot of prisons and schools and stuff like that. But based on my past, just to give you a brief, in case you don't know what I'm about. So I was involved in a lot of gang culture back in the day. I've lost 45 of my friends have been killed to gang violence. I've had people die on my arms, shot, and all kinds of stuff. So I go to a lot of prisons and schools and do talks on anti-gang stuff and crime and stuff like that. And I also teach young people about films and casting. And every film I do, I take young people and put them in the film or behind the camera and mentor them throughout the process. So in answer to your question, yeah, I'm always up for mentoring young people and getting them on set, showing them how to use the cameras, how to cast, and just getting involved in the whole project. Next year we're shooting a version of Goonies, a UK version of like Goonies with lots of young people. So there'll be lots of opportunity for young people to get involved in not only in front of the camera but also behind the camera.
Great. Any more? Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just wondering whether, in your view, over the last sort of 2 years, whether you've seen that there's a greater representation of Black and Asian minority ethnic people in the television, whether it's in producing or in acting.
I feel there's been there's been a lot more of Black and Asian people on the screen, but it's rubbish. Like, so when they had that day, that is a blackout day.
Yeah.
I just took that as a disrespect personally, because a lot of the highest grossing films around the world have Black people in them or were made by Black people. So to have a day where it's almost, to me, I feel like it's disrespect. Like to have a one day where we just see Black stuff on TV, and some people might look at it like, oh, you know what, it's a step forward. But we don't have a day where we only see white people stuff or Asian people stuff. So why have we got a Black day?
Probably because some Black person in the TV company said, let's have a Black day.
Exactly, probably.
Definitely. Black person said,
It's ridiculous, man. So for me, like, yes, I'm happy that we're starting to see more representation. I'm happy because I'm seeing my brothers and sisters and my children are seeing people that look like them on the screens. I'm happy for that movement, but as much as we're moving forward, we've still got a long way to go, man. We've still got like so far to go. Do you know what I mean? And it's like, for me, it's like sometimes they dangle a carrot to make everyone shut up. Like we had a Black Day last year. Like, so in other words, now shut up. We gave you a little something, innit? But really and truly, there needs to be a lot more. There needs to be a whole lot more.
I guess, like, just following on from that question, I haven't seen all of the other films, but I really enjoyed this one.
Thank you.
Because also, one of the things is, I guess, I feel like sometimes, I think things have changed a lot in the last 5 years, but I think we went through a period of very kind of cliched type movies.
Yeah.
Not saying they're not true of Black life, but it's only like a little percentage, you know what I mean? Do you think, in your experience, do you think some of the issue is what gets greenlit, what stories get greenlit?
Yeah, 1,000,000%. I feel like stuff that's about gangs and you know what, it's really, really deep. So if you look at it and you look at what gets greenlit, for example, Blue Story, these kind of projects which portray Black culture negatively, always get greenlit. Even as an actor, whenever I go for roles, I'm always cast as a thief, a robber, or a killer, or a murderer. Like, cast me as a priest or something, man, or a social worker or something. Why have I always got to kill people? You know what I'm saying? So that's why I try to
headlock.
You know what I mean? It must be the headlock. That's why I try to make films that are different. But I feel like in regards to the stuff that gets greenlit, I feel like it's what they think is gonna sell. Do you know what I mean? And until we start making more films. Sorry?
They know how to sell.
Yeah, exactly that as well. Things like, when you look at things like Brotherhood, Adulthood, Kidulthood, The Intent, these kind of films, they're very easy for them to sell, but we don't do ourselves as a Black culture any favours, because we buy in. A lot of the young youth buy into those kind of things, and they buy into those kind of bulletproofs and The Intents. And I'm not saying that there's nothing wrong with the art form, because I love the art form. Even Top Boy, I love what Ashley and them guys done in terms of what they've done, because it is true to life to a certain degree. But we just need to have more other stories. They're not the only stories that we have. I have no issue with gang stories, because I grew up around that. I've had people die in my arms. I've seen that stuff. I've lived that life. But I've also seen Black couples get married. I've also known Black doctors. I know Black lawyers. Why is everything that? Why do we not have more of? Do you know what I mean? We need more representation of the culture as a whole.
One last question.
would you explore this genre, this film again? Because I came here out of fear because I saw the poster and I've written something kind of similar. Remember Trading Places?
Yeah.
Yeah, I wrote something called Trading Races.
Nice.
Yeah, and it's got an element of what you've got, but it's a little bit more. You remember? Did you watch Black Mirror?
No, but I've heard about this. Like when I actually heard about them shows, I try not to watch stuff because I get influenced by it.
Yeah.
So I just rather not watch nothing because then I'll be like, at least it's like saying there's a film out called The Watermelon Man.
Okay.
And Watermelon Man was an old film which is very similar to this. Yeah. And everyone keeps on saying, is it a remake? Is it a remake? And I would know because I hadn't seen Watermelon Man. Yeah. So when I heard about Watermelon, I purposely didn't watch it so that I could do mine, and then I watched it afterwards. Yeah. So that it couldn't be that I was influenced by nothing that's in their film. Yeah. So in regards to what you just said, I have not seen.
No, but mine's more sci-fi. So I'm just wondering, do you take on ideas? Do you like to collaborate with people?
Yeah, but I'm up for collaborating with everybody, man. Like I grow, you grow, you grow, I grow, we grow. I'm not really. Yeah. I'm not one of those kind of like. I'm like I could be sitting with you guys and someone else could be up here. Yeah. I'm not. Do you know what I mean? I don't remove myself from people. Do you know what I mean? If someone's got a good idea and we can make it work, let's make it work, man. I'm not. Do you know what I'm saying? You know, like some people that over there. Yeah. I'm not an over there person, man. I'm with my people, man. I'm with my friends. I'm with everyone that wants to work.
Cool. Yes.
Just lastly, Fredi, if you can just tell us what's next for you and Are We Dead Yet? Your company. What's next?
Oh, it's mad.
Apart from the one you did.
So I've got a martial arts film we're shooting in January, February. Like John Wick, but the lead character is a black guy. We've got the Goonies project, like I told you, we're working on. I've got Jafakan that I'm doing with Peter Andre. I've got my book coming out next year called Boy, about growing up in Kent and being the only black boy in the village. I've got my casting agency. I've got a casting agency dropping next year, and I've also got a clothing brand next year.
Wicked. Busy.
Yeah, I'm trying to win at it, man. So my kids can be like, I'm happy when my kids go to school and their friends be like, I saw your dad on TV. I'm happy with everything else. I don't need nothing else. As long as my children are proud of me as a father, and they can go and hold their heads up high and be like, "That's my dad," I'm good. Everything else I'm alright. I don't need anything else. I'm good.
Great. Well, I just want to big up everybody that's come today. Big up DET Entertainment and big up Life 2020, and obviously Gary from Cables and Cameras, and big up to the Cube for hosting this event. And yeah, obviously big up yourselves for coming, and thank you so much, Fredi, for joining us.
Can I just say one last thing? I just want to say this: like, a lot of us have dreams and aspirations to do things, right? And we don't always follow those dreams and follow those things that we want to do. So I encourage everybody out here: if you've got a dream or a passion or something you want to do, don't let nobody tell you no, man. Just follow that dream. Whatever you want to do, and people might look at you and laugh and think, "Nah, you can't do that." But whatever you want to do, make sure you follow that dream. Because if you don't, you'll get older and regret that you didn't do it. Yeah. So anything you got, any passions, anything you want to do in life, whether it be something which you might think is small or big to you but small to somebody else, follow those dreams. Don't take no. Yeah. Don't do ifs. Just do hows and whens. And always remember, I will and I can. And then you're good for life. And other than that, lastly, if you enjoyed the film, it's all about social media. Please tag me, follow me on Instagram, share, let people know you liked it. Even if you didn't like it, just pretend it's cool. Just share, please. That's what I wanted to say.